Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Magic Arena Run. And well, first things first, Stephen K. Thank you for following on Facebook. Actually, very interesting. I was just about to start, and the notification came up. So just some quick dropout, just a quick name drop, I guess. Anyway, we are going to be doing Historic Brawl. I've been testing out some decks. I've actually wanted to test out some of the quirkier stuff. I've actually been asking everyone for ideas. I saw a few good ones. I'm probably going to ask for permission later to feature certain decks, especially the ones I got deck list for. There was a few very interesting ones there. I'll just ask you guys on Facebook. But I did have this very interesting idea here. Now, generally, it's kind of like Commander, Dual Commander, so it's pretty much all about getting stuff on the board. But what if your stuff is not in the form of a creature? So, ladies and gentlemen, we are featuring... It says Zacama here, but that's because it's the only reasonable Planewalker for this one. This is essentially just a tokens deck. So, first things first, why Zacama and why not anything else? So first we could do Samut, but other creatures you control have haste, kinda there, but kinda boring. Not exactly a way to catch up. I guess if it said other creatures you control have haste and double strike and vigilance, okay, I'm sold. But just like this, no. Rin and Seri, unfortunately, we are not casting cat and dog spells. We are not actually casting many creature spells. In fact, we only have 3 creatures and we're hoping not to have to cast them. So that's out. Rian, Angel of Rebirth. Unfortunately, we don't have that many multicolored creatures. Most of the tokens we're generating are single colors, so that one's a drop. Palladia Moors. Unfortunately, I guess it's fine. Flying Vigilance, Trample 6/6. We get hit for 6, and afterwards our opponent removes it, so not very great there. Also, and that leaves us with basically these two. So we are having a bit of a shortage of Naya colored commanders. First off, Gishat, Sun's Avatar, wants you to be playing dinosaur creature cards, so that's a drop. That leaves us with the most expensive one of all, Zacama Primal Calamity. Actually, we are able to cast this 1 or 2 times at least, so depending on how the game goes. So this is not a stretch. So we do get to fire this off. And that's why I ended up choosing Zacama as our commander for this deck. Now, enough about the commander. What about the deck itself, you might be asking? So one, it's primarily about making tokens and comboing them off with a few good stuff. Generally, the main combo is one of the 3 creatures we actually have. Craterhoof Behemoth is probably the best well-known one. Everyone loves to Transmogrify or Luca into this. Endrace Forerunners, this is also another good one. It's not that big, but it's nice to have a backup. And Elish Norn is our 3rd backup here. +2/+2 by itself. Could be better, but giving other opponents creatures -2/-2 is a good one at that. I also considered adding Harmonious Archon. Though setting everything to 3/3, not necessarily the best plan. I am going to consider it a bit though. Especially because all of our creatures are tokens, so we have access to quite a few. We basically have access to Intangible Virtue. That's our best go wide plan. We have Ajani as another go wide effect here, so let's put those on the side. We have Lorehold Command here as a strange one-off, but it's primarily there to give +1/+0 and Indestructible and haste. And likewise, Atarka's Command, creatures you control get +1/+1 and reach. That one's a very good surprise. Dromoka's Command, not exactly the strongest one of the bunch, but it does have some pump effects, and also does help us against certain cards, so we'll keep it at that. So for the most part, it's all about making tokens, and it's about maintaining the go wide strategy. We do have some cards that we have also Battle for Bretagard as a way to double up on our tokens, though more often than not, we're not exactly relying on it too much. But we do have a lot of ways to generate stuff like Release the Dogs, 4 mana, 4/4, Spore Swarm, 4 mana, 3 1/1s, but it's at instant speed, so it's a good way to catch people by surprise. We have the usual suspects, Timely Reinforcements, Omen of the Sun, History of Benalia, and Dragon Father, Servo Expedition, Raise the Alarm, Saproling Migration, both good early and late. Have a bunch of artifacts because sometimes we just have to hard cast this, and that's fine too. And as far as some board wipes are concerned, we actually do have a few just in case. Settle the Wreckage, Cleansing Nova, Doomscar. No, but that's pretty much the main idea of the deck, and it's basically about maintaining that board pressure as much as possible. So we're gonna see what kind of matchups we go up against here. I generally have fun. I don't win all my matches. That's perfectly fine. And oh yeah, right now our first opponent is a Muldrota deck, so they want to get stuff in their graveyard and bite stuff back. So this is probably the worst possible keep. We have nothing early game. We really need to take advantage early game. So take advantage of that free mulligan. And slightly better, we'll lead off with Veil of Summer. I'm tempted to just play this one tap. Okay, I'm gonna just play this one tap. Oh no, it doesn't. That doesn't ETB tap. Sorry, I'm wrong desert. So I should have just played the Veil of Summer. There's a good chance we're about to get hit by oh no, opponent went blue. Could still have black mana. That's usually the concerning sign. Okay, but it's ETB tap, so we'll take that. So we're in no rush to Saproling Migration, so I'm gonna pass. In fact, I want to get our opponent to cast a creature so that Thief of Sanity. Okay, we'll take that. So kind of wish I foretold this one. I was holding up for Veil of Summer for the usual stuff, but looks like we might have to foretell for other stuff. That said, doesn't necessarily stop us. We get to... We will foretell Doomscar. We will actually take the hit. It gives us the most advantage from Timely Reinforcements. In fact, what I want to do is take the hit. We'll lose something off the top of our deck. Not too much, hopefully. Then next turn, we will play Temple Garden. That will dip our life down even more. We lose the Planar Cleansing and the land, so I don't know what this is. Hopefully, it's just more creatures. We can just wrath the Land War Elves. That's a nice thing to wrath. More Elvish Reclaimer. My concern is the 2 mana here. But then again, we do have Veil of Summer, so we're gonna pay the 2 life. We're gonna just Doomscar our way out of this. Opponent lets it go. Then we'll kind of rebuild next turn. I'm concerned that this could be an Alrund's Epiphany, but Alrund's Epiphany and an empty board is not the worst thing that could happen. So next turn, Arch of Araska, Legion's Landing, Timely Reinforcements. Especially if our... Okay. Sequence... Okay, Sequence Break. Don't play the Legion's Landing first. Play the Timely Reinforcements first. Now Legion's Landing. And now we hold up Veil of Summer. We could really use one more land so we can get Saproling Migration, but Unbreakable Formation is not a bad plan either. In fact, we could just swing with all the tokens. Legion's Landing will flip and we will get Saproling Migration. Though we have to also be careful if our opponent's about to hit 6, so they can start buying stuff out of the yard. So that's a concern. Opponent goes Scavenging Ooze. Okay, that's... Well... Not... If they're gonna eat... If they want to grow this one, it's gonna have to come from their side of the board. We only have 3 creatures on our side, so that's gonna be a bit tough to grow, I suppose. So we did draw a Sun Petal Grove. We'll go Unbreakable Formation. It forces the Scavenging Ooze to start eating off the other side. Opponent Lightning Bolts. Okay, fine. And yes, that was our Lightning Bolt. So we get the Legion's Landing. I get to drop History of Benalia. I probably will drop History of Benalia anyway. So opponent blocks. Opponent can probably just eat from their graveyard. They're not gonna find anything in ours. In fact, I kind of want to encourage that. Yeah, they're eating their yard, which is good. Then we play History of Benalia. So we're just basically trying to avoid our stuff getting targeted down. Opponent's gonna gain quite a bit of life, so we need to hit our good stuff. I can pretty much cast Saproling Migration with Kicker. Opponent could counter this, which is not the worst thing in the world. So we get the Cold Steel Heart. Yeah, I'm gonna do the Cold Steel Heart first, because it just means we're 1 mana away from hitting. So let's set it at red. We'll Banishing Light. Take out the Scavenging Ooze. And we're gonna hold the Migration because we don't need to grow the board too much. Opponent gets to replay Thief of Sanity. I'm really hoping to hit the mana just to hit Zacama. That's pretty much the plan. Opponent goes Hostage Taker, takes the Cold Steel Heart. And they get to cast it, so we just help their mana a bit. Well, could be worse. So we're not casting Zacama anytime soon, but what we're essentially looking for is a way to pump these guys up. Intangible Virtue is great. The Strixhaven Stadium is really there. It's a weird one-off, but it's there for a purpose. So I'm gonna attack with everything. Opponent probably just blocks these smaller ones. Yep, that's expected. But now we have another avenue of attack. So Strixhaven Stadium, though, it's a bit weird as a win con, but opponent goes Kogla. Yeah, we need to. Well, I want to hit Zacama, but it's gonna be a while before we get there. Also, as soon as this attacks, we lose the Strixhaven Stadium, so that's a bit of a whoop. Opponent hits Stitcher Supplier. Okay. Dumps a lot of good stuff, which is bad for us since our opponent can buy them back. We're just 1 mana shy. Now, our opponent can... Well, they're tapped out, so... Actually, no, that's a bad one. I might just take it. So we lose some of those, that's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8... Oh, we hit 9, okay. Opponent might have removal for this. So we only get 2 shots, but we have to make those count. We're taking out Kogla. Our opponent... We can cast Saproling Migration just to spread the board a little bit. I'm concerned our opponent might have a board wipe, but if our opponent's about bringing stuff back, the usual black board wipes are not gonna quite cut it. I'm actually gonna keep holding this one back. Or not. Let's just cast it. Nope, I changed my mind. Opponent might have a kill spell, but they're really down to that 1 card. So the plan now is... We need to keep taking out Muldrota as often as possible. Opponent ditches the Stitcher Supplier as predicted. Mills a bunch of other stuff. If our opponent hits removal, it's going to be really sad for Zacama, but... Murderous Rider, yep. But it can't be helped, we needed to do it. We are going to move it to Command Zone, because we don't have a reanimation, so... We need 2 more mana. Binding of Titans. Each player mills 3 cards. We lose Essica's Chariot and Battle for Bredagard. Opponent exiles up to 2 cards, not so good for us. So... I'm tempted to cycle. No, I can swing with all 3, but they just get eaten, so I'm gonna pass. So the plan is to force our... Basically try to force through. Our opponent really wants to... Okay, now if they want to gain life... Okay, they exiled some other cards. Opponent... Yep, gains a life, draws a card. They might have to... Yep, they're forced to drop Muldrota. They've already played a land, so... They can only cast a creature... Oh, they can no, they can't cast this land, but they can cast a creature. There is still Elvish Reclaimer. So that's a big one. So we hit Elspeth's Son's Nemesis. So if I attack with this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I can get it to 8. So we're doing a really weird plan here. Also, this is returned to hand, so opponent probably returns, say Kogla, which is gonna be a tough beat for us.
I am proud of my confidence.
So we will have the choice between drawing a card and making a token. So I'm actually gonna just I'm just gonna go all in here. So we'll lose 4 creatures. We will get 3 hits. We go up to 9. Super risky. We're intentionally losing stuff. So Strixhaven Stadium is also, wait, this our opponent have binding? Nope, no binding, it's just Mortality Spear. There's a Maelstrom Pulse, but that's also not instant, so I will have choices between making another token or and making... So the key here is, let's say our opponent attacks, we block with some of the tokens. Opponent takes Terramorphic Expanse. Oh wait, no, that's just a return. He's not playing it back. Opponent plays it for regulars. So opponent's trying to draw back into the game. Hits the binding, so Greatest Fear. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I will need 2 mana again. Yep. They happen to hit it. So that plan's out the window. I might as well just take all the damage that comes in and knock on wood for... It's basically knock on wood for either Crater Hoof or Maze and Forerunners. So I'm probably gonna end up drawing a card, especially if our opponent's casting everything off the top. So we will definitely... Opponent recast the binding, so mill 3 cards. Let's see. Okay, we hit lands and a ramp spell, so that's actually good. So yeah, because I can go greedy and just make another token, but we need cards. Opponent's not at... Settle the Wreckage.
exact justice.
Oh, we will have mana. We will have mana to settle afterwards.
If you will not see things my way.
So we have one of 3 hits. We hit Crater Hoof. We hit the best one. And opponent says good game. Yeah, because that was out of the blue. We really needed to hit one of those. And opponent packs it in. We survived. That was a very close one. As I said, we are not guaranteed to win a lot of stuff, but we can win out of nowhere. We also had the backup settle the wreckage. So that was that's a very good one if I say so. I still want to try other decks, but this was fun. Now, as far as getting those hits, we really only have a few cards there. Actually, we don't have that many. The real hits are just Transmorgify and Luca. I actually forgot to put Finale of Devastation, but considering that will only tutor for one of 3 creatures and we need so much mana, that's a pass. The other one I considered was Indomitable Creativity, but we actually have quite a few artifacts and all of them are very cheap. I kind of need to run them because we need all the mana we can get. So that was kind of a pass also. That said, it is a way to consider that we could run a pseudo treasure strategy. Like there are some cards that allow you to discard a card, draw 2 cards, add 1 or 2 treasures. I think the Ixalan version gives you 2 treasures. Kaldheim Seas Dispose gives you 1 treasure. So that's one plan with Indomitable Creativity, but I would have to give up Arcane Signet, Cold Steel Heart, Golden Egg, Guild Globe, and Strixhaven Stadium. It's not impossible. It's just so that is one thing to so if you guys have any ideas around that, it's not a bad idea actually. It might be worth considering it. Mizzix's Mastery is also something we're considering since most of our token making spells are instants and sorceries. So it's a good way to buy back the entire board. So we're definitely keeping this. We got turn 2 into the north. Turn 2 into the north. Next turn, probably Birth or something. Probably should not play this first though. I should have played the Plains. But we're kind of in desperate need. Also, the Birth of Meletis is there. It makes a token. It's not the most exciting one, but it does smooth out our land a bit. Okay, so we hit the Luca. So we need to ramp Praise as crazy. So Highland Forest. Next turn, Birth of Meletis, play a land. We will get a token, but we drew a land also. So I think we can set it up a bit, so I'm actually going to just play Birth of Meletis first. I think our opponent's setting up for mostly counter spells. So we're going to be waiting for the right time per se, air quotes. I could distract them with Zendikar's Royal. This one, not the best one. There was a landfall team here for quite a while. But we're definitely releasing the dogs next turn, assuming our opponent doesn't interfere. Okay. So opponent could have... I could play Zendikar's Royal just to distract the opponent, but if it turns out our opponent has something, this is going to be a very big bust. No. This speaks of counter spells. If you're willing to run Censor, you're willing to run all the other cheap counter spells. So Quench and etc. So in this case, we got the expensive one, so I'm actually happy. So Distraction worked. We took out the counter spell. Opponent is also relying on instants and sorceries, but in a different way. So I kind of want to have... Yeah, we kind of want to have more lands over time. Opponent... Please drop something. Oh no. They're really just sitting back. We could Chaos Warp our own token, but we only have 3 actual... No, we have a few enchantments, but they're not the best. So this will eat another counterspell, sadly. Oh no, it didn't. Could our opponent have Storm's Wrath? Opponent has Cinder Clasm. Okay, so that's okay. So this one is literally just pure control. Are we gonna win against this? Probably not. Our opponent will have to. Okay, so there's a Sahili.
We'll create great things, you and I.
I'm gonna actually cast a Banishing Light on this. Ooh.
I'm sorry.
Okay, we have
But I must
Servo
tend to my
Exhibition. I'll be surprised if our opponent actually. Wait. There are some counters that are dependent on the. Or it could just be instant or sorcery. So, not negate. Oh no, opponent lets it through. Okay. Opponent probably has more. Also on. Opponent Storm's Wrath. Yeah, so they are that kind of dead. So we're going to just play this out as a land because it looks like our only hope is to hit this one. So the interesting thing is our opponent, let's say our opponent casts Niv Mizzet, we can just Chaos Warp it. So that's pretty much the Young Pyromancer. Now this is interesting. We're probably not gonna gain life, but we will get some tokens out of this. So I'm actually sold on this one. I also want to save the Chaos Warp for the inevitable Niv Mizzet. What did the opponent discard? And the worst thing is our opponent kept up. Change of plans. We're gonna see if this baits a counter spell. Our opponent's down to 2 cards. Ooh, that's actually not too bad. So, timely reinforcements. I'm gonna be annoyed if it turns out our opponent did have the counter spell. But it is what it is. Nope, let's just have the tokens. We have Rip Apart. So I'm actually gonna pass here. Our opponent has ways to draw cards. That's what the Pyromancer's for. Our best bet is to hit with Luca, but I'm considering we lost so many tokens in the interim, it's not looking good for us. Opponent goes for the Niv. Cycle, so they draw a card. So we will lose 2 tokens. So Crater Hoof Behemoth, it's actually a fine hit. I'll be honest. We'll take that hit. So we have Unbreakable Formation. Could have used that earlier. So we're gonna get something, but it's not exciting. Maybe we could keep beating with this. Highly unlikely. Our opponent probably has a way to kill this. They can't just ping it to death, I suppose. Beacon Bolt. Yeah, that also does it. And they're just gonna Pyromancer us. Yeah, so I think the correct play was to actually not Chaos Warp the Pyromancer earlier. So yeah, so our opponent got full control. So good, kudos to them. I can say a lot of bad things about it, but well, but its effect, I would not doubt its how effective it is. Now that said, we do have an option of just racing to Zacama. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We are 2. No, that's number permanents. We are 2 mana shy. So we're just denying mana, which it's kind of poor. Also drawing them into more cards, and they have the reversal. Yeah, good game. So we didn't do that well. Opponent having 2 board wipes back to back really hurt us. But then again, it does show how important the red half of that deck is. Opponent could not just counter forever. Intangible Virtue was supposed to be our... kind of supposed to be our out against that. Both Intangible Virtue, we do have a Glorious Anthem. Also the Unbreakable Formation, that was supposed to be the plan. So this is... our opponent's playing Isamaru, which means our opponent is probably going what... it's mono... some sort of go wide. So Slaughter the Strong is... Planar Cleansing is good, Slaughter the Strong is not so much. We are definitely too slow here. I'm gonna take the mulligan. So this is relatively better. We have a turn 2 Signet into Cultivate. Opponent's taken 2 mulligans, so they're looking for a specific opening. I can't afford to take another one though. So we're basically going to just ramp and kind of buy some time, I guess. If our opponent has enchantments, it's actually not so bad. Opponent runs Isamaru turn 1. So we have to do the turn 2. Actually, so yeah, it's just super aggro here at this point. I kind of want to just... okay, there's a Hashep Oasis. So we're gonna be taking a lot of early damage here, so this one's even more aggro. Remorseful Cleric. Opponent's stuck on 2 mana, so we will have time to Doomscar. Unfortunately, we drew that, so what we can do is... okay, we'll cultivate. We will need... actually, we can go double green. Then just play the Temple Garden tap. So we'll be taking a big hit, then we'll be taking 3 a turn afterwards. Opponent plays Basri Ket. Okay, going for even more tokens. So 3 for... whoa, that's a lot of damage. So we still have the Hollow Blade's still a problem. I have to cast Doomscar first. We need to make our opponent start discarding cards. I also kind of wish that... okay, opponent did discard the Sheltering Light. Sacrifice, exiles, well, 1 card. So this one does grow. It becomes a... it'll become a 4, so we're actually dead next turn unless we can answer that. So yeah, we kind of got sped out here. Opponent plays Isamaru. Yeah, we need to have tokens to start gumming up the board. Not hitting any token was a big whoop for us. So the good news is we have the Esika's Chariot, so that gives us that buys us some time. Now, depending on how our opponent sets this up, Dromoka's command can actually whittle their board down a bit. I'm curious to see what our opponent goes Banishing Light. So I can't tap these guys now. So we have to let... okay, wait. This is the only enchantment they have. Okay, gains indestructible, so it's not too bad. So target player sacrifices an enchantment. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. You sacrifice, put 1 here. So we get our Essica back with even more cats. Genius. And the nice thing also is that because you're forced to you have to sacrifice that. You have no other enchantments. So this is indestructible, but we have the option of we're going to end up throwing some under the bus anyway. Opponent. Oh, we can actually transmorgify now. So I can crew this, throw the chariot away. We're left with the tokens. So 1, 2, 3, 4 will deal quite a lot of damage. Oh wait. Pass to blockers. Block with just this one for now. Because I can still... In a quirky way, I can still crew it, get extra tokens. Okay, opponent discards... Oh, good thing they discarded that. So, down to my turn. And we did hit another land, so we have an out. So... 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this one sounds like it's a bit of a... It sounds slightly counterintuitive. Yes, we're going to target the cat. Now, if we hit Elvish Norn, I'm not too unhappy. We only have 2 hits now. Oh, we hit Crater Hoof. That's a good hit. So, now we go to combat. Go to attackers. Now, this is not lethal. But we will end up making another token. So, there's that. This has trample. This has trample too. So since these are not quite lethal, I'm actually going to just send it over to Basri. Now Swords to Plowshares is an issue. We could still lose that way. The opponent just lets it go. Kinda wish we had trample over Planeswalkers, but now our opponent has to... If they can kill the blocker, we're dead, but it's very close. And we got the combo off. I would have preferred Elvish Norn though in that particular case. There is an argument for holding one back. Also, if I did the math, yeah, we would have ended up kinda the same. No, actually we would have ended up with 1 creature less. And be attacking with the same number of creatures. So opponent... So force block. If our opponent has a pump effect, we're dead. Discards Redeem. There's no 1 mana direct damage spell. It's just an Archon of Emeria, but that's way too late. Yeah, opponent concedes right there. We managed to plow through our opponent safe. And we had the planar cleansing in case things really went south. I don't think we had enough mana, but yeah. Essica's Chariot. Our opponent playing Banishing Light actually was to our favor, so thank you, opponent. And I think we'll do about one more. Actually, no, we're only in 40 minutes in. We'll see how long it takes. I want to get this to at least an hour, so maybe 1 to 2 more matches. There, if you want fast games, the Winota deck I did in F&M, that's probably a better option. I would probably recommend that. So here, okay, tap, tap, tap. Everything ETB's tap, so not great. Also, we don't have much, so I'm actually gonna mulligan this. This is painfully worse. I'm gonna take another one. Oh, come on. Oh, wait, we have Once Upon a Time, so that's a... this is based primarily for land, so we're actually gonna keep this. We're gonna assume we're gonna get beaten quite a bit, so we're gonna dump the Fate's Feathers. Opponent rocking Kayad and Inexorable, so... The Fire Prophecy is pretty much there to help us draw stuff, but I could see good reasons for having other choices. Our primary target is white mana. Nope, we did not hit white mana. We did hit a good... So if we're forced to cast Fire Prophecy, I have to cast Once Upon a Time. Arcane Signet... No, we're not forced to cast Once Upon a Time. So we're gonna pass. Hit the Fabled Passage. Still not forced to cast anything yet, so I actually can still pass. So we're definitely getting white mana out of this. Opponent goes Grateful Apparition, which is... Okay, we'll cast Once Upon a Time now. We hit another white mana. Also have the option for Rootbound Crag. Cleansing Nova might be important. It looks like our opponent is semi-stuck though. Yeah, we're gonna go Rootbound Crag. This might be a punt here, but we do have a Fire Prophecy that we're banking on. So we're gonna crack this first. The ambition's to hit Zendikar's Royal, but I'm gonna actually bin the Timely Reinforcements since we're kind of playing control at this rate. Okay, good. Oh, we also hit an Hour of Promise. Unfortunate. Maybe not too unfortunate. So we're gonna have that ETB tapped. I'm gonna be... Well, our opponent will have multiple choices if they... Okay, they go for Redain, so these are more expensive. So I do have to foretell this just to get this down to 5 mana. Also, our opponent's really stuck on mana. No, opponent concedes. They're not gonna wait for me to just wrath the board away. So that one's a bit anticlimactic, but yeah, our opponent also had to mulligan down to 6 cards. Yeah, I think theirs was the more desperate one. Probably should also start making it. Oh, I kind of want to at least put in the Lightning Helix. Hold on. Let's get that Lightning Helix art in at least. I definitely like the Japanese art styles. Okay, we got it in. Okay, good. So it's already built in. I like the Japanese art styles. My concern is that we don't see it as much, and we're not so used to seeing the name where it is. In fact, the only time you'll see the English text is when you hover over it. So it's very hard to read the board at a glance. So there's a bit of that UI consistency issue, but oh, opponent is playing a Layla, Artful Provocateur, so we're definitely keeping this. I'm definitely gonna lead on Shelter Ticket. We want to do the Abundant Harvest a bit later when we have a good idea what we need. Like right now, I could go either way with land and non-land, so I'm actually gonna run the Shelter Ticket first. Dromoka's command actually gonna hit several targets here, so definitely have to play the command tower. Now this is an instant, but I don't think so. Yeah, we'll hit this. We're gonna name land because Okay, that's a good hit. Also note that only the forests benefit from this, but I'm pretty much running it mostly just to get creatures. So also, Alayla is a 2/3, so we want to save that Rip Apart for as long as we can. Midnight Clock. I take it back. We're not saving that Midnight Clock. We're sniping that. The last thing we want to do is give our opponent more cards to draw. And Alpine Meadow is a perfect excuse. I'll be annoyed if our opponent has Spell Pierce, but okay, no. It is what it is. So we managed to punch through with 2. Nissa will start punching in for extra damage. Kind of wish this was... Though unfortunately we can't draw Mocha's command. I might even be incentivized to hold back, especially if our opponent holds back stuff. Opponents... Looks like they've been... It looks like they're stuck, but I seriously have doubts about that. I'm also probably gonna just sack the Omen soon. We need to start hitting gas at some point. Although I will note that prevent all damage, return, target, yeah, sure, that's fine. Yeah, rock those adventures. So what does our opponent play? If it's Brazen Borrower, they can do it at the end of my turn, so they're probably... Skyclave Apparition. It's to hit the Omen, but there's an argument for actually not sacrificing it, since I do get a creature in the process. So put a +1/+1 counter, target creature you control fights. No, I need to set up the next turn. Hit an Elishnorn and the Strixhaven Stadium. We'll go Stadium first. We kind of have the double white, but it's a bit risky. So pass 2 attacks. I suspect our opponent might have some sort of blink effect. Tasa Deep Dwelling is a concern, so we're going to actually just put what? We're just actually gonna have these guys fight it out now. Get out of the way. I don't need the Strixhaven Stadium quite yet, so let's play a mountain. Let's see, Strixhaven, yeah. Oh, and I can actually cast the Strixhaven Stadium afterwards. So this is Vigilance and Haste. Slightly anti-timing. We don't get the counter for this, but it's still something. Also, we get the hit to a quick Zacama at this rate. Opponent goes Conclave Tribunal, snipes Nissa, I believe, which is fine.
I must go.
So tap. My turn. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hit the big Elishnorn. Attack. Opponent is going down quite a bit. Opponent probably still has ways to wrath the board. Extinction Event is gonna be really bad for us. Regular Wrath is also just as bad too. Elspeth Conquers Death. We lose the Elishnorn, which is kind of... What creature can they get back? Skyclave is gonna be bad actually. So we do hit a Wolfwillow Haven. So let's put it on the mountain. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Does this activate a sorcery? No, activate only during your turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I have to decide if I want to because Zacama is something I have to consider doing, especially since this is about to tick down, this is about to tick down. I do have the option of opponents doing the count. He also knows If he can kill the forest, I'll need to draw a land to hit Zacama. He can also hit the stadium, in which case the same thing. I'll still need to hit the land. Basically, the conceit is I'm trying to beat the Elspeth Conquer's death. We also get Shah Conclave Tribunal too. Banishing Light on... It has to be the stadium. Could also be Wolf Willow Haven. But yeah, we lose the stadium. Or the Wolf Willow Haven. That's also an option. Yeah, stadium's probably the correct one. Opponent's been missing a lot of land drops, so that is a bit of concern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Unfortunately, this ETB's tapped, so... And since our opponent's only option is to get Skyclave Apparition, I'm gonna make this a token now. So it comes back to the +1/+1 counter, but takes nothing, which is the important part. However, yeah, we're still at 8 mana. Yeah, this ETB's tap, kind of one of the drawbacks, but we can live with that. What's another thing we could like? Cleansing Nova would be great actually. We can just set it to enchantment, get these back. Also the nice thing about tokens is that for the most part Skyclave Apparition doesn't have any hits. Linvala, activated abilities of creatures, so it prevents this. Oh, this doesn't tap out also, so we're gonna be waiting for a while here. So that's a good Linvala. We do have removal, just not that much. Also, we already lost Elish Norn, so what other thing could we use as some removal in this sense? Because we know we're not activating this. This one's just a big beater. Azorius Renegade, so it casts a spell if no mana was spent to cast it. Now, we're not exactly casting these. Oh yeah, Tibalt's Trickery would be interesting. Oh wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's see if our opponent has a counterspell for this. They probably do. Memory Lapse. Oh, but it just buys time. Opponent needs a hard counter soon. I'm assuming they do have a hard counter. Kinjali's Sun, when creature enters the battlefield tapped, but this would be big enough. It'll be big enough to force blocks, so I'm actually okay with that. Opponent is playing a Taxus style deck. Very interesting, I must say. Opponent goes all in. So let's see if they have the counter spell again. No, they don't. It ETB's tap, but doesn't stop me from attacking. Opponent's best bet is to just chump. In which case, I will snipe Linvala. So we go down to 8. We just 1 mana source away. But in this case, our opponent is under real pressure. They have to answer the Crater Hoof Behemoth now. It doesn't have trample anymore, but it's still annoying. Our opponent can trade stuff for it though. Now, what are the odds that we draw our third creature, Haymaker? Opponent drops a Layla. They're forced to do it. So what's this? Other creatures you control is flank at +1/+0. Opponent.
Always loyal. That.
Close enough. We did get the 1, 2, 3. Now, opponent can safely chump with everything. So that's 8 on 7. The Azorius Renegade really is not doing anything here. There's an argument for leaving this behind. Actually, no, there's no argument for leave because there are no good targets for it. So that's it for this strategy. Everything else is tokens at this point. It's well tokens or Zacama. We already sniped the Linvala, though our opponent could have a way to get it back. We're kind of just living off this one. Opponent brainstorms. They're looking for a solution at this point. I think our opponent being stuck at 5 mana was a very big issue. But I'm definitely not gonna plus or minus this one, so Luca did his job already. So making tokens, they just ETB tap, so not so great. Baleful Mastery. Okay, so they do have an answer for that. That's the last of our creature answers. Don't worry, we don't have any more. Creates an argument for at least having one more though, I suppose. So red, white, green. Let's go for white. We have tons of red. Zacama. Untap all our lands. So destroy target artifact or enchantment.
Behold, nature's true power.
Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Hope please don't tap. Okay, do not tap that. Yeah, opponent sees the writing on the wall. Once we hit Zacama, our opponent was so distracted with dealing with everything else. But then again, to be fair, we only had 4 main things to deal with. We didn't exactly go all out with tokens. We just happened to have a few, and those happened to be enough. Our opponent being stuck in mana for quite a while also was an issue, so there we go. And you know what? I guess we'll call it for this particular deck. It's not perfect, but it is still interesting. If you don't want to go all in on a Transmogrify deck in Standard or Historic, maybe once in a while it's actually fine in Brawl, and it doesn't feel that bad. But there you go. That's it for this episode, the Magic Arena Run. If you like what you saw, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Turn on notifications and whatnot. You can check this out here on YouTube. Don't forget to also check out my page on Facebook. But as it is, thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you guys again next time. I will be doing more Historic Brawl, probably testing out a few more commanders along the line. But there you go. Take care, God bless, stay safe wherever you are, and have a great week, everyone.